advocacy, community, education, resources, rewards. Learn more at thervadvisor.com.
This is the RV Advisor Podcast with your host, Tom Alexander. Get all the latest information, trends, advice from experts, stories from the road, and more in the world of recreational vehicles. Now, here's Tom.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RV Advisor Podcast. My name's Tom Alexander, and today I'm joined by Kay Goodell. And Kay is from Rolling Adventures. And Kay, welcome.
Hi, yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you. And this is an interesting story because it says right here on your Instagram page, which, by the way, has over 2,000 followers, so you're doing great. It says just a girl and her dog. What kind of dog do you have?
Yeah, so it is a shepherd mix. He was a rescue dog that I got in college. His birthday is actually this weekend, and it'll be my 5th year with him.
Great. So he's your companion on the road, and you get to see a lot of different places all over the country. You told me now that currently you're near Seattle, Washington, right?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I got here a couple days ago, and I'll probably stay for about a week or two.
And what's there to on your list, I guess, to see? What are the things you want to see while you're in that area?
Yeah, I heavily focus on the national parks. So I'm actually going to pack up and go to the North Cascades this weekend. Looking to do a couple big hikes there. And then I'll make my way down to Rainier, and then I'll go up around to Olympic on the other side of Seattle.
Yeah. And tell our viewers and listeners what you're riding around in and what's home these days.
Yeah, I've got a really old Ford F-350. It's just a conversion van, no fancy high top or anything, completely off grid with the solar, running water, all that fun stuff. And it's been home for a few months now for me. And
you and your dog, what's the dog's name?
Diego.
So you and Diego, you guys are doing pretty well. Just with that, it's enough to get you to where you want to go, and then rest your head at night.
Yeah, I mean, I have a very comfortable mattress, so that's really probably been the biggest key for me to make this last a long time, is sleeping comfortably. He has his own bed. It's cozy for me and the dog. I think anyone else would be pretty tight and uncomfortable.
Well, you know that's good that you're comfortable with it. That comfort's important. Getting a good night's sleep is important because the next day, of course, is a new adventure, and wherever the road takes you. Let me ask you this: do you plan a lot ahead, or do you kind of just say, "Hey, Diego, let's see where the road takes us today"?
Most of the time, I'm kind of just winging it. I did make a general outline to follow the national parks around the country in a loop. So I'm sticking to that pattern. And then from there, I'm like, oh, well, that looks fun. That looks like a cool exit, or that state park looks cool. Or, hey, I want a kayak today, so we'll go lay on the lake.
Hey, that's fine. It's funny because I know I've said this, we've talked about this on the pod many times, that there are those folks that like to map everything out and know exactly where they're going, and they're really into planning. And then there's those folks that sort of just, like you said, kind of wing it and see where the open road takes them. My guest is Kay Goodell, and she's from Rolling Adventures. You could follow her on Instagram. And it is Rolling Adventures. Pretty simple, Rolling Adventures. And we're going to find out a lot more, talk to Kay a lot more after the break. And this is the RV Advisor Podcast. Back in just a moment.
The RV Advisor was created for you to protect your rights as an RV enthusiast and arm you with the knowledge to navigate the complex RV industry. There's strength in numbers, and that's why we've built a nationwide network of RV owners empowering you with the advice you can trust at rvadvisor.com.
Back on the RV Advisor podcast, my guest is Kay Goodell from Rolling Adventures. You can find her at Rolling Adventures on Instagram, /Rolling Adventures. And we've established that she's in a 2002 E350 conversion van. And you know what's interesting, we were chatting in the break and you shared with me the fact that there's no air conditioning in your home there. However, you have been very very clever, resourceful, I think is the word, in maintaining, trying to get those temperatures that are comfortable and in the 70s throughout the year, wherever you're going. You want it to be in this, and that's a comfortable temperature. How have you managed to do that? That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's tricky. So my AC actually broke, and the cost to repair was a little bit more than I paid for the van. So I kind of just was like, all right, we'll modify it. We'll try and stay in the 70s, low 80s to keep it cool. So I've been staying up in the top of the country. As fall sets in, I'm gonna try and track it and go downwards towards Arizona, Utah, that desert where it's a little bit cooler then, not that Death Valley at 130 degrees.
Yeah.
I want to wait till that cools down. And so, yeah, it's been, some days are hotter than others. As long as I keep the back door open and some air going through with fans, it's been manageable. It hasn't been too terrible at all, which is great.
Well, that's terrific. And also you mentioned too that you work from the van. You're able to remotely work for your company. Why don't you share about that?
Yeah, really, my boss is just so great working with me. He let me switch from a full-time employee to remote in insurance work. So I put in about 20 to 30 hours a week. I have my set schedule that I worked out with him. And then if I want to do some more hours, have some time, or it's raining out, I'll work an extra 3 or 4 hours, which is perfect for me. Everything's done through my laptop, so I'll answer the phones for the office. I will do service work, sales, pretty much everything that I do at my desk in the office, I do right here at my desk in the van.
That's great. Now give us a little bit on the layout of the conversion van. So like what if I came in there, is there a place to kind of cook, a hot plate or a microwave, or what do you got?
Yeah, so I, being myself and a dog, I kept it a twin size bed. So there's a straight walk through the middle of the van, so you can go out the back door to the front side door.
Mhm.
There's a full kitchen, counters, drawers, cabinets, all that stuff up front, so I can cook. I have a short dresser that also doubles as a desk for me, and I got a nice little chair to set up in the middle, either between the kitchen or work on the table. And then I turned the other half of the van into more of a couch storage area. I don't have a wired up refrigerator, so I'm using a cooler and ice, old fashioned. So that sits on the couch side, and it's pretty roomy, surprisingly.
Well, that's great. That's great. So you're able to kind of function just fine, and you stay in RV parks.
So I actually do dispersed camping. So I usually use Compendium or Overlander for those free spaces. If I'm kind of near a city or too close to a city where there isn't any dispersed spots that I feel safe or comfortable in, I will do the truck stops, the Cabela's, the Walmarts a few times if need be.
Gotcha. Do you have like is it like a let's say it's an app or a network or some kind of a thing that you use to sort of let you know, easily know, you know, your options when you go to a certain area? It's like, okay, you know what, I can stay here, this looks good, so you're not always riding around looking for the next thing.
Yeah. When I finally decide where I want to move to next, usually I'm a couple days out on planning. I'm kind of looking up on the map. I do use 3 or 4 different apps, as well as freecampsites.net, super awesome website that'll plan out where the public and federal lands are. what the current status is, if there's cell service, because me working remote, I kind of have to stick to cell service. I don't get to go
Mhm.
completely into the middle of nowhere and have no service all the time.
Yeah.
So I just check those out. If rest areas coming up, sometimes I take a nap there.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, that's an interesting thing. And next time maybe we can have you on again and see where you are, maybe as the colder weather comes and maybe you're in a more, a sort of a more mild climate, let's say in December or whenever, January. Love to catch up again and see where you're at and you can tell us some new stories.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. I'm definitely racking in all the stories and memories out here.
Wonderful. Well, continue to have a great time and best to Diego and safe travels.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us, Kay Goodell from Rolling Adventures. This is the RV Advisor podcast. Back in just a moment.
Buying an RV is an exciting moment, like buying a new house. You should inspect the RV and the contracts thoroughly. You may not know what to look for, and that's where the RV Advisor comes in. GG and her experts are here for you at rvadvisor.com.
Wrapping things up now on the RV Advisor podcast. I'm Tom Alexander. Of course, we're joined by our guest coordinator, Neve Carizzacco. Hey, Neve, how you doing?
Good, Tom. How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you. Doing well, and I know that we've been really getting some tremendous guests on, and we've had some repeat guests join us again after some time away, and it's great to have them on as well. And I know that you've been chatting with some folks, right? And they have something in common, don't they?
They sure do. It is back to school season, and I actually just managed to get in touch with 2 or 3 families that homeschool their children from their life on the road in their RVs. So, yeah, very excited to have them on. For 2 different reasons, actually, at the moment. People are trying to see how they would, in general, go about living on the road with kids. And there is a lot of parents right now that are unsure about sending their kids back to school due to COVID, that are also looking into the homeschool aspect of their education. So, yeah, I'm super excited to get them on, get their thoughts, see how they go about it.
Yeah.
They have different age groups, the few I have been talking to, so it kind of will hit on different classes and, will give us a broader idea for our listeners and members to, figure out if it's something that would suit them. I mean, I'm even interested to hear about this. I feel like it's becoming very common these days. And it's very, very interesting. So yeah, looking forward to having them on over the next few weeks. And yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Great. Looking forward to chatting with those folks. And of course, if you want to be a guest on the show, you can reach out to Neve. Why don't you give them your email?
Yeah, ncarey@thervadvisor.com. You can get me on that anytime, or any of our social media. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, send me a private message, and yeah, we'll get you on the show.
Terrific. Well, for Neve Carizzacco, I'm Tom Alexander, thanking you for watching and listening. We really appreciate it. We'll see you next time right here on the RV Advisor podcast. So long, everybody.